What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Poker Vlog. Headed out, put in another session, hoping we can break the curse with a little bit of tank top run good. Shout out to Doug Polk and Joe Ingram and all the guys at Upswing that love their tank tops. Hopefully we can play like 1% of that good and break this little losing streak we got going here. Not too much else to say. We're running a little bit late, got a bunch of traffic out ahead of us, but hopefully we can make it there in time and not lose our seat. So let's go ahead, hop into some hands. Hopefully there will be some winning hands.
You choose your...
Okay guys, first meaningful hand of the night. We look down at pocket sixes from under the gun. We're playing six-handed right now, starting off with the $500 that we bought in for. I go ahead and open up to 15 bucks. I think short-handed this is fine. We get a call from the cutoff and from the small blind. Off to see a flop which comes down 9-7-3 with two spades. So not a terrible flop, especially for our hand. I don't know why we don't go ahead and bet here, but we don't, and the action ends up checking through. So turn comes down, four of diamonds. Action checks to me again. We add a straight draw here. I decide to go ahead and bet out 20 bucks and we get some semi-weird and semi-unexpected news in the form of a check raise from the cutoff. He's a player that's good enough to actually check raise as a bluff. So I decided to go ahead and put in the call here and hopefully we can peel off something useful in the river. River comes down three of clubs, so not exactly what we were dreaming of. I check. He bets $140, and then we do this super fun thing that we love to do and are in a terrible rut doing. We start making up ideas in our head of like how he's definitely bluffing us and like why does this guy always come after us and like what's going on here. I don't get it, I don't trust him, what could he possibly have that he like checks the flop with and like plays this way. So I end up putting in this like super dumb hero call. He flips over pocket seven. So he flopped set, slow played it, got the maximum from us. Well played, terribly played by us. What are we doing? Next hand was a pretty enjoyable one, liked this one a lot. We look down at 7 deuce of clubs, and a little bit before this hand, the player that the big game runs around fairly often came and sat in this game. He's somebody that always comes after me, somebody who clearly doesn't like me, somebody that I borderline have beef with, so we were very out here to see if we can find a way to win a nice hand against him. It's the big blind. I'm in the big blind. I've got $390. Someone in late position makes a 10. There are several callers to me. I decide 7 deuce, we're gonna go ahead and see a flop. I call also. Flop comes down, a real nice one for 7 deuce. Flop is 7 deuce 9 with 1 club and 2 diamonds. So not too bad. We even got backdoor clubs to go with this and we flop 2 pair. And it's a little bit disguised, just a little bit. So I check, the action checks to this player that comes after me in the hijack. He makes it 35. The player who beat us in the first hand calls. I raise to $150 and the player that hates us rips it all in. Yeah, so happy. He's got us covered. Player in the cutoff folds. I call, he has to run it twice. I say, whatever you want to do. He flips over pocket queens and everything runs out clean for us. So we stack this guy almost with 7 deuce here. Nobody even makes any comment. I expected some sort of blow up or something crazy. You could tell he was not very happy about the situation, but we take down a big pot with 7 deuce. So shout out to Greg Goes All In, stay loose, play 7 deuce. A little while after that, I've got queen 9 of diamonds from the big blind, starting the hand off with about $800. The colonel under the gun, super tight player, limps. Our favorite player in the game from the button makes it $15. I call and the under the gun player calls also. Off to see a flop which comes down king jack 4 with 2 clubs. So not the greatest flop for us. We're pretty much done with this hand until the action checks through. The turn comes down a 10 of hearts, so bingo for us. Now we've got effectively the nuts or the actual nuts, and I bet $20. Both players call. So off to see a river which comes down the 8 of spades. I bet out $75 thinking that I'll definitely get value from one of these guys. Probably there's got to be a 2 pair combination or a top pair that'll look me up a little bit light. Unfortunately both fold. So we take this one down after seeing that just like bink turn card. A little bit after that queen 9 hand, we look down at 7-5 offsuit from the big blind. Start this hand with about $850. There's several limpers to me, and I just go ahead and check my action. The flop comes down, jack 7-9, and the action checks through. I'm not really looking to go crazy here with bottom pair. Turns a king, action checks through again. Rivers a 7, I bet $35. The colonel, who is a super tight player, makes the call, so I'm not even sure if I'm good here, but he mucks his cards, so we take down this nice little pot. A little bit after that, we get into a fairly interesting spot with a 6 of hearts. I'm in the small blind, starting this hand with about $900. the player that we lost the first hand to, that we're always making up ideas about in our head, in middle position opens to 15. I call and one other player calls. Flop comes down, ace, 9, ace. So we're flopping trips here. There are no hearts, but with trips, you know, feeling pretty good. Middle position bets 25. I call and the other player calls. So off to see a turn, which comes in the 7 of diamonds. The front door flush draw gets there. Middle position player checks, and the action ends up checking through. So I think this is kind of weird and a little bit unexpected. I don't really think I should be betting into 2 other players when the front door flush draw comes in this situation. River comes down the 3 of spades. I don't think I should be betting here, but unfortunately I do. I bet 35. The other player folds, and middle position player makes it $140. So once again, I'm making up ideas in my head about how he's bluffing me. Players are very unlikely to bluff on the river in small stakes games like this, or like relatively small stakes games. So anyway, I make the call, and guess what? He rolls over king 3 of diamonds, so we lose this one, making another big effective hero call on the river, because all I really have is a bluff catcher with trip aces here and no kicker. So whatever, terrible call once again, and we light a little chunk of our stack on fire. In the next hand of note, I look down at pocket nines from the cutoff, starting this hand with about $650. Middle position opens to 15, I call, and our opponent that has been just wrecking us with river bets calls also. Flop comes down, favorable flop for us. Flop is 9 high, big blind checks, middle position bets 50. I decide to just call here on this board. I think with 2 diamonds on board and I'm not holding a diamond, that I can probably just go ahead and raise immediately, but I don't, and I'm immediately rewarded, I think, with another 9. So now we've got quads. I'm not looking to like mess anything up here. I'm hoping that my opponent will continue to bet into this pot. Unfortunately, the action checks through. The river is a 2. My opponent checks. I bet $130. We're just sitting here praying for a call, thinking about it. He goes well into the tank, thinks about it for quite a while before finally putting in the call for $130. He mucks instantly when I flip over my quads, telling us he had pocket queens. So we take this one down, feels pretty good, making a little bit of a comeback after torching so much off in some pretty ridiculous river calls. A good while later, I've got queen 10 offsuit from the small blind, starting this hand with about $800. The cutoff, our favorite player in the game, makes it 15. I call, and there's one other call. Flop comes down 10 high, so we're flopping top pair, reasonable kicker. The initial raiser bets out $25. I make the call, and we're off to see a turn, which comes down to queen. We both check here. I'm not really sure why I check after making such a good hand. Obviously, he can have some like straight combinations here, but I don't think he has enough that I need to check after making 2 pair. River comes down to jack, obviously a terrible card for me. He bets out $50. I call, and he shows us pocket king. So he ends up getting there with the runner straight after we get there by turning 2 pair. So messy hand, pretty badly played, I think. I don't really know what I should have done, but I don't like anything that I did here. Oh well, on to the next one. So things have gotten kind of interesting in this game. I was actually thinking about leaving, but then a couple of players that you want to play against show up. So I decided we're gonna go ahead and keep sticking it out, see if we can make some sort of interesting run here. I've got ace 10 offsuit under the gun, starting to see with about $700. I think ace 10 offsuit under the gun is probably just a fold. I end up limping, which is super dumb, worse than folding. We have a player make it $15. One of the players that we really want to play hands against that just showed up makes the call. I call also, and we're off to see a flop 3 ways, which comes down jack 9 8. So we flop an open-ended straight here, feeling pretty good about that. The initial raiser checks. The player that we want to play against bets at 25. I call, and the initial raiser makes the fold. So heads up to the turn, which is a good one for us. It is a 7. So we end up getting there with a straight right away. We've got the second nuts basically. I don't know how. I don't have it written down in my notes very well, but I'm pretty sure I bet, he raises, and I ship it. He calls for like $180 total, and he flips over queen 10. So yeah, we messed this one up real bad. RIP. Yeah, that sucks. Played it terribly. Don't limp pre-flop. Don't play ace 10 offsuit from under the gun. I don't know. Yikes, yikes, yikes. On to the next one. In the final hand of the night, I've got about $450 in front of me. I open with pocket nines from early position. I get a call from the player that I make all the hero calls in the river against, and our favorite player in the game. So we are off to see a flop, which comes down jack 6 6 with 2 hearts. I bet we get a call from the player that I make all the hero calls against, and the other opponent folds. So we are off to see a turn, heads up, which comes down to 4 of spades. I make another bet, a pretty sizable one this time. I think I bet out $65, and he makes the call once again. River comes down the 4 of hearts, so it completes the front door. Heart draw, I check this time. He shoves all in, and I go well into the tank again, thinking super hard, thinking he's probably trying to bluff us. I don't really know why. I am just like convinced this player is always trying to like pull some kind of shenanigans. I've got a bluff catcher at best. The flush draw got there. There's 2 6s on the board. There's all kinds of ways that I can lose. I decided to go ahead and put in the call for all my chips, just call it off here to another river bet, the 3rd time tonight, and he flips over a6 for trips. So not sure what I'm doing there. Not sure what he's doing calling with a6 offsuit, pre-flop into a raise. So whatever. Guess I really don't have any room to say anything bad about how he played it when I made 3 terrible hero calls again on this guy against the river. Yeah. I filmed a very dark outro for this video right after while I'm in the car.
That would maybe be something that a terrible player or someone with brain damage would do.
Probably not gonna go ahead and share that one. I'm gonna give you a little bit more generic of an outro like this. So we're in for 600, out for 0. Hate how we played. Obviously lost all of our money on the night on those like ridiculous river calls. What are we doing? Why are we making river calls like that? Like what kind of reminder do I need to set for myself that, hey, people aren't bluffing on the river? But yeah, so that's all for this one. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. If you like this at all, please hit the thumbs up button. Helps out the channel a ton. Get really excited. Next week's video is actually an episode of me making a trip to the Texas Card House in Dallas, Texas. Really cool trip, really interesting. Ran into some people that watch the vlog. Really excited to share this next video. So stay tuned for that coming next Monday. Have a good one, everyone. Appreciate you guys watching. All the comments, all the likes, all the subscribes. Like, thank you, thank you, thank you. See you next time. Have a good one.